In this section, we learned about some more widgets and controls to add to a form. The first one was the date widget, and we learned that there are a lot of different types that you can use for date widgets, and that they produce a calendar or a time, sometimes a spinner control to change the numbers. And by the way, it does not validate. If you're doing HTML validate, it'll produce a warning because it's relatively new, and depending on which browser you're using, it may not be supported. The selection list control, this produces a drop-down list, and you need to use the select tags, and then in there you put options. So what you want to be in the list, each item in the list will have an option. And the value, you add a value, that's the one that will go with the field. So here the name of the field is fruit, and whether it has apple, orange, or banana as the value will depend on which one is selected, which option is selected. It will send that one value with that name for the name value pair for that selection list. You can add some attributes. Size identifies how many of them will display, how many of the options will be displayed automatically. The default is 1, so it usually just shows 1. Multiple is an attribute that you can add, and that allows a user to select more than one option, so they can choose to select 1, 2, or 3 options. When this happens, there will be a name value pair sent for each one that is selected. So it will send multiple pairs with that same name. Then you can do the selected attribute. Now notice that this one goes in the option tag, selected, and that identifies which one of these options is selected when the page first opens, before the user does anything. We learned about radio buttons and how you add those. It's an input with type radio, and you make a group of radio buttons by making the names match. And when you have radio buttons, only one in a group can be selected at any given time. We learned about a checkbox control, that we can make a checkbox, and what that looks like is an input with the type equal to checkbox, and you can put the name and an ID and the value, which is the value that will be submitted when the checkbox is checked. When it's not checked, nothing will be sent. We learned about a text area control, and this uses the text area tags, opening and closing tag, and it creates a box for text, and this is a multi-line. So the text boxes we've used so far are a single line of text, but this actually creates a box where you can have multiple lines of text, and you can set the size of the box in the style sheet. We went in and we set the height and the width of the style sheet to be what we wanted it to be. And you give it a name, that will be the name of the field, and the value of the field is whatever is entered in the text area.